guys, my name is Emily and today I quickly wanted to share my April 2018 favorites, starting with books because this is a booktube channel. Now I did have two parts to my April wrap up and I will link both of them down below. So there were three books that I read in the month of April that absolutely stand out to me, and those are On Writing by Stephen King. It was just really great writing advice. Out of anything that I've read, I really liked getting to learn about Stephen King's life, and I think reading this will not only make me a better writer but a better reader because I'm now paying attention for some of the things that Stephen King himself finds icky in writing. My favorite reread of the month was Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens by Becky Albertalli. I was really hoping to see the movie. That didn't happen, but my reread for this, just love Simon. I love the love story and just so cute and warm and fuzzy, and you get to the end of it and you just feel good and happy. So I really, really like this. And the last favorite book I have here is Autoboyography by Christina. So again, this is a queer romance story. I really liked the relationship. I liked the tension. It was sexy and it was warm and fuzzy and it left me happy. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on all of those things, I would recommend, actually all of these things came from the wrap up part 1, so I would recommend checking that out if you're interested in hearing more of my thoughts. So because I had my wisdom teeth taken out, not only did I do a lot of reading, I consumed a lot of films. Mamma Mia, The Last Word, Lilo and Stitch, The Lucky One, Tangled, Safe Haven, One Day, Call Me By Your Name, Isle of Dogs, The Florida Project, and 3 Billboards, all in April. And the two that stand out the most to me are Lilo and Stitch. It is probably my favorite Disney film, my favorite animated Disney film. I love the music, I love the animation style, everything's just warm and cute, and I love Stitch. I also love the sister relationship between Nani and Lilo, and I love the sort of larger social commentary that Disney is kind of hinting at. It's really upsetting when Lilo is going to be taken into foster care because that probably means that she is going to be taken off of the island and given to a white family in like mainland America, because that is often what happens when children are taken into foster care. Because my face was so swollen, my sister and I kept quoting that line, Stitch has chewed on Pleakley's head, and Nani's like, oh, she looks swollen, and Jumba's like, actually she's just ugly. Because my family kept being like, oh, your face is so swollen. We had fun with that. It's great returning to old favorites. My new favorite, however, as part of this project my partner and I have undertaken to watch the 9 films nominated for Best Picture for the Oscars in 2018. We watched 3 Billboards. Honestly, it's fantastic. It's probably the funniest Oscar film, and it's kind of hard because you're comparing, again, apples and oranges when you're looking at things like Call Me By Your Name, Lady Bird, Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards. Like, it's really hard to say what is the best picture. Like, you would think best picture is just like best everything, best overall experience. Like, I loved the characters, I loved how complex and gritty everything was, and I loved the main character, how badass and determined she was to get the police to investigate her daughter's murder. I thought it was funny. I thought it was really funny. I loved it. So if you haven't seen 3 Billboards, I would recommend that you see that. I have 2 shows that I've been watching. One, I've sort of watched the entire season in like the first 2 days of having my wisdom teeth out, and it was basically 7 hours of me weeping on and off, both out of sadness and joy, and that is Anne with an E, the Netflix adaptation of the Anne books. Now, I think they captured a lot of the whimsy from at least the first Anne of Green Gables, but I also think that they captured a lot of the dark things that are hinted at, like the abuse that Anne has suffered. I think the thing that hurt the most was her mirror friends. In the book, she talks about having these friends that live in mirrors and, you know, talking to them and carrying on conversations with these reflection friends. When I read that, I always pictured it as like her imagining another person in this reflective surface, but the show literally has you looking at Anne's reflection, and like the reflection doesn't do anything sort of magical, like move on its own or have its like own sort of like Peter Pan shadow agency. Like, it's literally her just talking to her reflection, and watching that hurt. You realize how isolated Anne is as an orphan child. I don't know how it went over with Anne fans in general. I didn't really look into other reviews of the show, but I was super engaged for those 7 hours, and I am so excited that it has gotten greenlit for a season 2. I am really hoping to go to PEI and to see the Anne tourist trap there this summer. The other thing that I've started watching is NBC's Rise, which is, I don't want to say Glee, but better. But basically Glee, but better. It's about a community that is really run down. I think it was the automotive industry, but a lot of the industry in this town that kept the town alive and flourishing has shut down, so a lot of people are out of jobs. There's funding cut from everywhere. People either end up stuck in this town forever working shitty jobs, or they escape and they never come back. There's an English teacher who has been teaching here for a while, and he doesn't really have the same passion as he did when he started, because he sees that his teaching isn't really making a difference. So when he takes over the drama department and he proposes this really risky play, Spring Awakening, he really wants to touch these young people's lives. He wants to bring the community something beautiful and heartwarming and something that's tough but hopeful. And so he not only enlists the drama department and the original cast there, but he starts pulling in other folks from the choir and just obscure people who play guitar for fun, the star quarterback. He really brings the school together in this community, and of course conflict, because conflict, it's a drama. It's a drama where every single episode ends on a hopeful note. Even if everything goes to shit in the episode, that hopeful note is there at the end, and I love it. I love all of the different storylines. I love the diverse representation in terms of race and sexuality and gender. They basically have own voices characters, so anybody who is a person of color actually is a person of color. Or if they are trans or non-binary, that is the actor that they have chosen to play that role, which I think is really important to see that sort of representation actually happening. Hey, we made this part for you, and we cast an appropriate actor or actress for the part. I will say in some places the acting feels a little less good. Not all of the teen actors are created equal. They're not all at the same skill level. The story, I really like the story, and I like the music. I'm a sucker for musicals, anything with music. I just watched that stupid Zombieland movie that Disney made, which, oh man, oh man, oh man. You're in Zombieland. But I watched it because it was a musical. Granted, I did watch it because it looked terrible. But anyways, NBC's Rise, I would recommend that you check it out. Moving on to miscellaneous things, I have been really enjoying drinking loose leaf green tea. What I purchased was pure leaf gunpowder green tea. The favorite part has been drinking just a plain green tea because it's lighter, it's less caffeine. Before you have surgery, you have to fast and you can't have any liquids. And I didn't realize how addicted I was to caffeine until I was in physical pain because I couldn't have any caffeine that morning. And so I've not been drinking so much black tea, no coffee, really. I treated myself to 1 coffee, okay. In general, I am trying to stick to lighter caffeine, so I've been switching to green tea, and that has been nice. It's very refreshing. It's nice iced for summer too. So my other miscellaneous favorite thing is this succulent. So my mom bought it for me post-surgery, and I just had this sitting on the table beside me in my little nest of garbage and pill bottles, and it just sort of brightened up that space. I really like plants. I really like flowers. My room kind of looks like a jungle, but I also really like the red pot on the succulent and the little red tips that it has. I think it's really cute. And the last thing that I am going to mention are my favorite YouTube-y things. The first one being a new favorite YouTube channel, which is The Princess and the Scrivener, and I will leave a link to them down below. So this is a channel with 2 really good friends who review pop culture, books, etc. from an intersectional feminist lens. Their videos are engaging and educational and entertaining, and like just the dynamics between the two of them, oftentimes they spell each other off. So you'll see one video from the princess and one video from the Scrivener. Then sometimes they come together just with each other or with other folks from the community. They do overlap a little bit with the booktube community. That's really cool, and I've really enjoyed. I think I watched through the entire backlog of like 3 years worth of videos while I was recovering from surgery, so they brought me a lot of joy. I continue to look forward to their videos, and I would highly recommend that you check them out if you're just looking for like short, quick, entertainment, educational snippets that get you critically thinking. The last thing that I wanted to mention is a very recent favorite, and that is Ariel Bassett's short documentary. She is a booktuber, I'm sure you're all familiar with her, and she has sort of taken a turn on her channel to leave the more traditional booktubey stuff of reviews and hauls and discussions, and instead produce higher quality content, like longer content, like short documentaries. Her first one that debuted on her channel not that long ago interviewed 3 different booktubers at 3 different subscriber counts, I believe, who all have a university education. I could be wrong there. Ariel asked all of them to think through, if the booktube community is educational, what is education outside the academy? And I thought it was really interesting as a person who has a university degree. I don't know that my content is educational. It's certainly not always educational, but I am always putting into practice the things that I learned in university, even if my intention is not to teach in every single one of my videos. So I thought it was really interesting. I think it's really interesting when people get meta about the communities that they're a part of. Watching Ariel like sort of make this transition to different content is really interesting, and I really look forward to what she's doing in the future. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I will leave that linked. I highly recommend it. Those are some of my April favorites. Let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite thing from April? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!